It's February. And as the young people in my life like to say, that's when mom starts talking about sex on the internet. And it's true, because today we need to talk about orgasm, not as performance, not as entertainment, and not as something that's owed, but a physiological, psychological, and spiritual event that reveals how safe and connected and alive the body truly is. Sacred orgasm is not about intensity, it is about coherence. And when we understand the science behind orgasm, especially the female orgasm, we begin to see why it has been so deeply misunderstood, feared, and historically suppressed. So let's look at what the body is actually doing from a physiological standpoint. Orgasm is not localized to just the genital area. It is a whole body nervous system event. During orgasm, there needs to be enough regulation for arousal because the parasympathetic nervous system, which is safety, openness, must be active. The sympathetic nervous system, which is that activation and intensity, will rise in rhythmic waves. The brain releases oxytocin, dopamine, endorphins, and prolactin. Heart rhythms and breathing patterns synchronize, and this is really important for mammal regulation. The prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that overthinks and monitors and gets hypervigilant, temporarily quiets down. So in other words, orgasm requires letting go of control inside a container of relationship safety. And that's why orgasm is impossible when the body feels pressured, watched, rushed, unsafe, or emotionally disconnected. Orgasm is not something you do. It is something that emerges when a nervous system trusts the moment they're in. Now, let's talk about the unique power of the feminine or female orgasm. The female orgasm is particularly powerful because it is not linear, not goal-oriented. It is diffuse across multiple places in the body, capable of repetition, and tied deeply to the emotional and relational context, unlike the male orgasm, which is often a quick and discharge-oriented event. The female orgasm can be expansive, it's wave-like, and it's transformative. It can alter perception, deepen bonding, increase intuition and creativity, part of why it was so dangerous, shift emotional states, regulate the nervous system long after the moment ends. And this is not just true for her, it's also true for the partners involved. This is not a mystical language, it's neurological reality. And historically, anything that gave women access to pleasure, to power, to intuition, to autonomy outside of male control was deemed dangerous. So they shut it down. They shamed it. The female orgasm was suppressed across patriarchal systems and was labeled excessive, unnecessary, disruptive, sinful. Why do you think it was so threatening? Because a woman who experiences pleasure without needing permission is not easily controlled. A woman who is embodied in her desire does not submit out of fear, does not confuse obedience with love, does not trade her body for security. She does not collapse into dependency. Sacred sexuality threatens systems that rely on dominance, ownership, and hierarchy. So female pleasure was medicalized, pathologized, moralized, or erased. And men were harmed in this too. They were trained into performance, urgency, disconnection, rather than presence and reverence. That is why sacred orgasm is not performance. Sacred orgasm is not about proving desirability or achieving intensity or giving or getting something, meeting expectations, using another body for emotional or self-regulation. It is about mutual presence. And from a nervous system perspective, the most profound orgasms, especially shared or simultaneous ones, arise when both partners are regulated, neither is rushing, neither is dissociating, neither is overriding their own sensations to please the other. And this is why simultaneous orgasm, when it occurs naturally, reflects deep attunement, not skill. Two nervous systems rise together because they are listening to each other, not performing. Sacred sexuality in true relationship is sexuality that's not a currency. When there's a truly sacred relationship, desire from a partner or partners is not demanded, and pleasure is not extracted. Vulnerability is not exploited. So instead, both partners are responsible for their own regulation, and both prioritize safety before intensity. The partners remain curious rather than entitled, and they both protect the bond they are building. Let's look a little bit at the divine masculine's role in sacred sexuality, because when the divine masculine is embodied, it does not take pleasure. It creates conditions for it to arise through steadiness, through presence, through protection, through emotional availability. And the divine feminine, when sovereign, does not perform pleasure. She allows it. She expresses it. She moves with it without shame. Sacred orgasm becomes possible when no one is being used to prove the other person's worth. Let's reclaim sacred sexuality. And for women, reclaiming sacred sexuality begins with releasing the need to perform or please, learning to feel without urgency, reconnecting pleasure to safety, honoring your own body's timing and rhythms, understanding that desire cannot be forced. Your pleasure is not something to earn, and it is something that arises when you are seen, safe, and sovereign. Let's talk about reclaiming sacred sexuality for men. So when we reclaim sacred sexuality for men, it means letting go of conquest narratives, learning how to let your nervous system be regulated, staying present instead of pushing for an outcome, understanding that arousal thrives in safety, offering a steadiness instead of a pressure. True masculine power is not how quickly you can take someone there. It is how deeply you can stay. So sacred orgasm is not separate from emotional sovereignty. It teaches the body how to trust, how to release, how to bond without losing the self. It teaches us how to experience pleasure without collapsing ourselves. This is why sacred sexuality is not a side topic. It is actually central to our healing and wellness. Because when the body learns that pleasure can exist without danger, life itself becomes more inhabitable. Sacred orgasm is not about sex. It is about remembering that your body is not an object. Your body is a living intelligence designed for connection, creativity, and reverence. And when sexuality is reclaimed in this way, relationship stops being a battlefield and becomes a shared sanctuary. If you are ready to take ownership of your own sacred sexuality and the reverence that being a living, embodied being brings, please reach out. You can like this video, share it, subscribe to the channel. Let us know what you want to hear more about. We'll make more videos for you. And as always, reach out to us at studiob.life, or you can find me at stacyRD.com. We help people like you every day become the best version of themselves they can be.